welcome to the Postal podcast.
Postal.
I'm your host, Cryptic, and in comes my co-host, Jeff.
Welcome to the studio apartment.
It's a nice place.
Thank you, man. I hope you like the setup.
Every day, I wake up blessed that you allowed me into your home.
All right.
No one would take me.
No one would take you during...
I was a lost puppy. Just my mother. That was it.
The COVID refugee.
Really kind soul. How are you doing today, man?
Pretty good. A little frustrated getting this all to work out and set up, but we finally did it. I'm happy that we had all
It's not like they can
the
let
equipment.
Everybody do this stuff.
I know it.
Everyone can put down a credit card. Not everybody can set it up, though.
Yeah. There's a big learning gap, that's for sure.
The curve
And
is big.
so that's a good thing and a bad thing. You know, you always got to teach yourself and get out there and actually do something with your life.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Actually, that kind of in a way, I know you did that unintentionally, but it kind of leans into what we were going to be talking about today on the podcast. I think I kind of brought up the idea. I wanted to dedicate today to talking about the college kids, the future college kids of this nation. I feel like seniors this year, if you just graduated high school, you're probably in just about the worst shape out of anybody from this COVID mess outside of elderly.
Oh, amen.
Would you agree with that statement?
100%. Like, the kids right now don't even know if you're going to class this fall, or they're cutting out and they're making you go online. And if it's online or if you're going to class, they're going to charge you the same price, which is the most messed up thing.
Think about this. Juniors didn't even get to visit colleges. Seniors didn't even get to visit colleges late for post admission.
Crazy
things.
stuff.
Like basic things that you and I took for granted. There's none of that anymore.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of stuff, but this I think in particular, and I think that's why I said to myself, hey, why don't we're recent graduates. I've graduated Villanova, Jeffrey.
Hofstra University, right here on Long Island, about 20 minutes away.
Representing.
Yeah, I guess.
Pride Panthers.
Pride Panthers. Roll Pride, stolen from the University of Alabama.
Exactly.
Instead of Roll Tide.
I said, we have all this wealth of knowledge. What if we did 5 things that we wish we would have known going into college that we could give these COVID kids. COVID kids, yeah, right? that can help them along. And I don't know, I just thought, hey, that's a good idea. So, to start it off, I thought about a great thing that I would have wanted to know before I got into school was to kind of put a little less pressure on yourself and to set realistic goals.
Yeah, the reason why we're listing off our 5 reasons, and to give a little background and pretense, these are mostly gonna be advice from if you're going to class, and there are classes this fall, because that's what we experienced and that's our point of view. And to be honest, this will come up once or twice, you need to take an evaluation, and you need to see if it's worth it to have online classes, because you're going to be robbed of the personal and the social experience of college, and maybe even go work at Chipotle for 1 semester or whatever it is, and just go make some money, because the dorms are expensive and you're gonna really hate working at Chipotle, cutting up those steaks or whatever. I never worked there, but any job, you're gonna get bored of the mundane task, and you're gonna realize either I can do this for the rest of my life, getting screamed at by my manager, being only 2 minutes late, screamed at. When you come in 10 minutes early, they don't count that 10 minutes towards your pay. You don't clock in yet. So you have to decide if you want to go to higher education and bypass all that, or if you want to do that rat race and start from that. And the whole situation between in-person classes or online, it changes everything.
It does. I think, hopefully, I'm more hopeful for college kids getting back to classes than I am for elementary, honestly.
Yeah.
Right now. So I'm assuming that a good 60% of people who will come across this are gonna, and in that position, are gonna be going back to university.
Yeah.
So you guys are gonna be there. just like, I don't know, just my advice, just for my first point. If you go into the experience thinking that, believing things that were told to you by people supposedly in the know, or by
the media,
or by your uncle or something like that, or movies, media, like things like that, you're going to be sorely mistaken. Make sure that something is legitimate. Put yourself out there, but don't overextend yourself. I'm talking about like day one, I want to like make a friend with my roommate or my neighbor. Day two, I want to like go to like a little shindig with the opening week.
That's my number 2 and number 4. Yeah.
Yeah, like that kind of sums that up as well. I don't know. What was your week 1 experience like?
So my very first advice out of the top 5, and these list of advice is really like aimed towards, you need to balance like 3 things in just overall life, whether in high school, middle school, you have a career and you're going to work every day at 9 to 5. Like, you've all probably seen that triangle of like sleep, social, and
college,
then what's the third one? Sleep,
college,
social, and college, like schoolwork.
Yeah.
But like, I think that's actually too simple. Like, I would make it a square, and when you're going to for college, I would make it a square because a pentagram. All right, well,
no, it's 6
I get it. Yeah, I know there's a lot of things going all over, but my fourth corner is you're setting up a whole new life. Like, unless you're like an in-state student, where me and you give a little background. We both grew up in South Florida. We went to the same high school, and then we branched off. We probably didn't talk for a couple months in between here and there, but we reconnected because we just graduated.
Yeah, exactly.
And we both have, this experience of literally just graduating and what it was like. And we remember, like, how hard the first week was, just how you just asked me, like, what was your first week like?
Yeah.
So my very first advice towards someone trying to balance all those different things is, the very first week, you got to leave your dorm room open. Your dorm room door open. Yeah. And whatever it's called, it's going to be called welcome week or orientation. Like, very few schools, like, they'll bring you in the summer for a weekend and run you through safety videos, sexual assault videos, blah, blah, blah. All that great stuff that you're going to have to go through. And during those places where everybody's new, you need to leave your door open. One, because, like, people on your floor, they're going back and forth, bringing up their luggage, moving a TV in, moving a microwave in, and you kind of want to get a feel like, hey, the person down there has a microwave, like, maybe I could use it. And people are going to be walking past your open door, and not everybody's curious, but 1 or 2, 3, 4, whatever, how many people, they're going to pop their head in and, hey, you just made a new friend. The more opportunities, like, you take advantage of, where you don't have to, like, cold confront someone, like, walk up to them when you have no reason to talk to them. The easiest way to make friends is when you have, like, an excuse to talk to someone. Like, during orientation week, everybody is in the same boat as you. Like, don't be as scared as some people are, or else you're going to have a bad time in 2 months when you realize, like, hey, I only talked to, like, 3 people, and now they all made another group of friends. Like, you're going to be screwed.
A quick little anecdote for that. My orientation week, the first 4 days, it was, like, mandatory. You do something during the day, and it would, like, end around 5 or 6, right? After that, there was stuff, but it was, like, optional stuff. And I remember, like, day 1, like, me and my roommates, we just, like, got together, and I had this fear that, like, if I wasn't, like, there in the room during that time, like, with the 3 of them, then, like, the other 2 were gonna, like, become buddy like this, and then I was gonna be, like, left out and kind of be, like, the third wheel.
That's a little ridiculous, but everyone has fears. Go ahead.
I didn't want to become that guy, that third wheel, and so we all hung out together, and I feel like it's kind of odd to say this, but I feel like we all kind of came into that with that same fear. Like nobody wants to be the third wheel out.
Oh, yeah.
But like eventually, if there's 3 of you, like, one of you has to be, like, the rotten egg. And so we were all freaking sitting there in the room, and we had this, like, luau that night. And it was like, oh, sweet, there's, like, a luau, like, that might be cool. And, like, we all got in the room and we started talking, and then we were like, so do you guys want to go to, like, the luau? And we were all like, thought about it for a minute, and we're like, yeah, no, let's just like sit here and like talk and like do this little ecosystem. And people on the floor, like there were strangers, were literally even knocking on our door and being like, "Hey guys, like we're like a bunch of us like are gonna go out like second floor." That's what we were. We were like second floor
Yeah,
like, right away.
me too.
We were like west side second floor because it's split into two. Like this wing, we're gonna all like walk there together. It's gonna be like cool. We're gonna be like ballers walking there together. And we like little like freaking like nerds were like, nah, you guys go ahead on without us. We're just gonna sit here and like talk and stuff like that. You have all semester to do that. Literally, the amount of downtime you're gonna have in your room is gonna by November is gonna fill up freaking a job. Go on that thing. Go to that party, even if it's lame and awkward because everyone's awkward in that moment. Go do that thing. That's probably one of the biggest things I regret from that week one experience. Was that we didn't just like go out and have fun. We just kind of like hung in our little room, like made it like a little nook and like didn't like exert ourselves and like spend time with others. I don't know. I think it would have been a little more cohesion. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. As many of those forced events as they have, like they dry up quick. In like 5 days, they're all gone. So as lame as they seem, like I remember I skipped the 2020 group picture. Like they like took it from like the 10th floor of the library and all the kids are spread out. Mm-hmm. I just skipped it. Like that was a mistake because you want to be like, hey, there I am, like find Waldo. Like you should want to. You're paying all this money, like. You want to have as many memories and as many. You don't want to have any regrets. That's the number one thing.
That's kind of like what it boils down to. I think I don't know. I think that kind of ties into the second point though a little bit that I wanted to make was don't stress about the future.
Oh yeah.
I think when we kind of like talked about it a little bit, I was explaining not so much don't like come in with like a basic plan. Like you want to know like what you're gonna major in at least to a certain degree. Like it's probably not a great idea to think I'm gonna go in bio and then switch all the way to business. It might not be the best move, you know what I mean? But in terms of like where am I gonna be at the end of the summer, like where am I gonna be in 4 years, 5 years, 10 years? Am I gonna have this job here? What location? What this? Like these are like the best years of your life. Like sit down, relax, enjoy with the guys around you. Don't like be stressing about like I'm gonna have to get this internship this summer and my life's over. I've never ever seen that pan out for anybody. Like somebody making that prediction and then them not ending up, in a certain situation because they didn't get that one internship that summer.
Yeah.
These are just inhibitions like bringing you down,
Yeah, I would say like internships are more of like a junior and a senior year thing. Like when you're your first semester as a freshman, like you shouldn't even be worrying about that. What you should be worrying about is like setting up like your life around you because you really are making a brand new life somewhere. Like, and you're gonna be stuck there for 3, 4, 5 years, or if you get a job in that area.
Hopefully not 5 years.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
But it happens to a lot of people. And so
you oversleep that one day in finals week. That's the thing about finals week.
Yeah.
Anything that could go wrong will go wrong. So you get that stuff set up.
Hot tip. Most finals in most schools, every school is different. And we should definitely go into talking about like how you should pick your school because there's like 3 main things how I would pick my school. Like, is it the right area? And how big or how small it is. You can have a 100,000 person school or you can have a 5,000 person school. Mm-hmm. If you pick a big school, a big party school, you better be ready to sit in a 300 person class with 3 levels and you're on the 3rd level looking down at the professor and he's got a microphone. If you can't learn in that environment, you're going to end up dropping out. Like, the biggest thing is you need to make sure before you go into this is like, am I ready for this? And do I have a plan? And like even if you don't have a full-on plan, you need to commit. Mm-hmm. Because let's say you go one semester, like depending on the school, that could be a 20 grand mistake if you drop out. And where's that money coming from? Like you're going to have to pay that loan back. You're going to have to pay that grandma back, whatever it is. You're going to have to sell your car because that's why I think also I said before, if like there's online classes and these politicians rob like the youth of their education, then you need to really decide like, is it worth it for me? Because you want to have that college experience and you want to be able to like meet friends and network. Because like one of the easiest ways to get a job is not only through internships, which helps you network within a certain company, but to know as many people. Like, this is speaking from like a business school perspective, but I would say it's also for the STEM schools as well. You want to like know as many people as possible, because like that one kid that looks kind of stuck up, like most likely his father is running some company and something like that, and that's your in. Like, you need to be as friendly as possible, and there's no reason to start petty high school drama wars with anybody. Like, you want to be the go-to guy for a topic, for a subject. Like, oh, this guy knows how to trade stocks, this guy knows how to like do this, and then you'll be the go-to guy for a topic, and people will come to you, and that's how you should set yourself up.
Unless you find yourself like a really, really niche, like a little art school, like Davidson, North Carolina, you're never ever gonna get that like backing by people that could start like that petty like high school rumor mill. Those things are gone. Like, they're gone. Like, there will be weird people that she'll just come across either in the halls or the dorms or something of these schools that you guys are gonna end up in. Like, guys who wear like full suits to class, like every single day, like no reason, and like a scarf and stuff that look like they're straight out of a Gotham movie. You're not gonna like get to that person, because there's not gonna be like a high school like clique society around you to like go after that person. Nor should you want to. Like, people are like living like who they want to be. Like, that individuality thing really comes out in high school. It starts a little bit in college. It starts a little bit in high school, but it really branches out in college. Like, if you don't like somebody, and trust me, I've come across a half a dozen or 2 dozen of those people during my high school, my college years. You should avoid them. There's so much room, there's so much space, there's so many activities to do that you don't have to like bump into them the same way you would in high school. They're not going to be like in your home ec class every day. You know what I mean? Yeah,
that segues into my second point really well. You mentioned the word click. So my second point of advice is, like, as soon as you get there, you need to hit the ground running, and you need to find your click fast, and as many clicks as possible. You need to like know your interests. Like, if you have no interest in your personality is Netflix, or your personality is weed, like
The Office,
or if you're oh jeez, you just made me cringe a little. There's nothing wrong with The Office, but you need
there's something wrong with everybody loving The Office and only talking only talking about it.
If that's like your only personality trait is The Office or a show, like, you need to fix yourself.
Yes.
Like, so what I mean is, find your clique. You need to like have a list of like what your interests are. Like, I can name my top 5 interests right now. One, business and entrepreneurship. Like, there's a business running right behind us, paying for these expensive HDMI cables I just bought.
Money never sleeps.
Exactly. Warren Buffett, great quote.
Yeah.
Find money. No. You have to be able to make money while you sleep. That's the only way to get rich.
Damn.
I'm like paraphrasing,
That's deep, though.
Like, if you're not making money while you're sleeping, then time's going out the window.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what this is. I press print on the 3D printer, and even if it's like 75 cents or $1 in revenue per hour, like, I'm still fast asleep, and 10 hours went by. So anyway, to get back what I was saying about my second point was, you should have a list of interests that you have, and you need to find those clicks that tie to your interests. So business and entrepreneurship. 100% there's an entrepreneurship club at your school.
Mm-hmm.
So another one, I like to draw. You can go to the art people. 3D printing is another one. Finance, stock trading. So you should know yourself and have a list. Video games, there's even board game clubs. There's Quidditch clubs at some school. There's going to be something that fits you, and as many clicks as you get into as possible means you have a lot of backups, and you have like different options of like 5 to 10 people per click, and that'll really help you out, and having the sanity of like, if like a pandemic happens, God forbid, you're gonna have people to Zoom and all these different clicks, and you won't be alone, so.
Did Hofstra have a Quidditch club?
Yes, but I never went to that stuff.
You guys actually did.
Yeah,
That's
they
funny.
did.
Villanova was like too Augustinian, I think, to accept that kind of thing. Villanova was a Catholic university, in case people are unaware, but I think we weren't like ready to accept that level of crazy. But that sounds fun, man. I don't know. I would check it out for like half an hour, depends.
I wouldn't even show up to that just because it just depends if that's your thing.
Like just like
walk by and laugh. No, I read all the books. Not gonna lie. Like in second grade.
Are you a Potter?
I mean,
a Potterhead. That's
no, I'm not. But I respect like the books and stuff like that. Like we grew up in South Florida, so did you go to university? Oh shit! Did you go to the University of Orlando?
You good there? Didn't crack, did it?
No crack. We're good.
Yeah.
After all those HDMI cables, I couldn't afford a cracked screen, but.
I have.
You went to
university.
Like
probably my favorite, actually.
Yeah, like the Harry Potter world and the butterbeer. Like you can really immerse yourself in that world. So I get it, but you just got to decide if that's what you want to do. Do you want to be riding a broom and pretending while you're 20 years old? I don't know about that, but we'll see. That's just personal opinion.
That's very fair.
Yeah.
This is kind of a bit of a bigger segue from our previous points, but for number 3, I talked about checking out study abroad. I graduated in May of this year. And
2020.
I don't know, man. I got out and I was like, I just kept remembering, mostly girls to be honest with you, but guys too, kept like always telling me like, oh, the semester I took to Italy that like changed my life.
Yeah.
The semester I took to London changed my life. Beijing, Shanghai, all these different places. And
if you got the money for that, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say. But some universities, to be fair,
it's cheaper.
They'll do they'll help you out. They'll do if you're already getting financial aid.
I've heard that.
Tack it on.
I've heard some study away programs because like the European countries, like the community colleges are subsidized. It's actually cheaper than a normal semester. But you're uprooting your life. You're getting out of your dorm that you just set up.
What I wanted to separate for this was that number one. Because some people go into it thinking that this is going to be like the thing that they're going to write on their resume that's going to separate them. It's not. This is like just a thing. It's like a fun thing to do. It's like a vacation, basically.
Yeah, it's not really. You're right.
The second thing is treat it like that. Like when you go there, don't be like reading the textbook, okay? Nobody's reading the textbook. Everybody's going out every other night or every night, depending.
Yeah.
And they're going to parties and they're taking advantage of the 18-year-old drinking laws in Europe. That's what's happening. Like, make no bones about it, please.
Did you go on a trip or no?
No, I'm saying that was one of my regrets.
Oh, I didn't go on one either, yeah. But when I was in my...
Talk about your India trip, actually, because that's somewhat similar.
Yeah, after my sophomore year of high school, I went with like a program called Rustic Pathways, and I worked at an orphanage for like 3 weeks in Jaipur, India. But that was sort of my study abroad experience.
Yeah.
And
out of your system, kind of.
I got out of my system, and I didn't need to go study abroad my senior year because I had like a steady girlfriend for the last 2 years, and which is another point.
Worst, to like leave them.
Yeah. So like if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend, and then all of a sudden they mention to you like, hey, next semester I'm going to Italy, like it's over for you. I'm sorry, but that didn't happen. That didn't happen for me. But they're talking.
Blunt today, I love it.
But like just that woman is already thinking about the Italian people driving around, circling the Colosseum in their Lamborghinis, and the waiter.
Southern Italian.
Yeah, whatever direction it is. So you might as well move on yourself because they want like a change in their life and they want to keep experiencing stuff. So everyone wants to do that.
I do respect the couple who, and I've met a few. Most of them go the other way. I have met a few who can make it through that situation and come back, and I will say I have to respect that a great deal. But just like Jeff was saying, it's too long, and you're too young to like get tied down, by somebody who you met literally just like less than a year ago. You know what I mean?
Unless you really fell in love or some crap.
If this was like your high school sweetheart and you've made it this far, then like we're not talking about that situation. We're talking about the girl you met in like French 2, and now she's going to actually go to Paris. Like that girl, maybe you put the brakes on. And then when she comes back, you can see how she's doing. Likely she broke up with whatever fling she had over there, so she's going to be free then too. And if you aren't bouncing around to someone else, then hey, you can start it up again.
Hopefully you had a fling of your own.
Exactly. Several.
Yeah. Take advantage of it while you can, because then a quarantine hits and then you have a dry spell. So literally, this is just advice, what we're trying to tell you.
Exactly. What's your number 3?
My number 3. Oh, we're banging through these. Okay, let's see if it segues into my last one a little bit. sometimes I'll try to force the segue.
Yeah.
I'm just messing.
You like segue.
Hell yeah. So my third one is create a list for tasks, or you're gonna fall behind trying to achieve your entire social circle and homework and setting up a new life. So before, like I was talking about, you have that triangle, and then I added the fourth corner of you're also gonna be setting up your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like that takes up a lot of time. Like, you know, it might take like 3 hours to build your desk from IKEA. It might take 2 hours wiring up your TV to your PS4. Like all of these things take time, and balancing that amount of time with your homework, with meeting new friends, with getting enough sleep, it's going to be nuts. It's going to be absolutely nuts. So the biggest thing is to prioritize and make a list. You make a list and say, this is number one. And the top of your list should be the homework that you have for the next day. Because if you setting up a TV on your second or third week, and then you missed your calc assignment, like surprise, mother, blah, 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 didn't say it, but,
yeah.
Surprise, you got a C in calc because you missed like 3 homeworks in a row, and you set up your PS4 and you binge watch Netflix instead of looking at the top of the list. And like I said before, you got to make a list of your interests and pick which clubs and tie the clubs to them. Like, lists are your friend, like, the more independent you get. Like, when you're home, living at home with your parents or with your single parent or whoever's taking care of you, like, the burden of living alone is, like, pushed on your guardian taking care of you.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that person's figured it out. They've lived for years and they know how to live by themselves and take care of you. Like, now you set off and now you're on your own, and you need to prioritize, like, what you need to get done to continue being able to keep your sanity and continue to make it out on your own.
Yeah.
And the way to do that is lists.
Honorable mention, actually, here, because you got me thinking. Honorable mention, individualize your room.
Yeah.
Like, my freshman year, I bought Christmas lights.
Oh,
it's not super unique, but I had fun putting them up, and I put them up in, like, my own way, and it was like I said, it's 3 people in a room built for 2, so you're not going to have the space. Individualize my corner. Like, my corner was my corner. I had my posters there. I had my Christmas lights there. I bought my own TV. So,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to, like, be like mine, you know, and not let my roommates use it. But, like, that was, like, my corner of the room. I individualized it because, and I've seen these people, if you go in day one and the only thing you've added since you left was, like, a couple pencils and a book bag, you're gonna be miserable. It's a prison without it. It's set up like a prison. It's set up with shacks and bunk beds. That's a prison, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
To move off of your point, like, to expand on it, like, people in college, like, and in all of life, like, everyone judges books by its cover. Like, even though you're told not to, like, if when your door is open the first week, like I suggest, and they come into your room and then they see your roommate has all the posters of Breaking Bad, Mr. Robot, Pink Floyd on the, or whatever they have up on their wall,
a lot of music.
and they see your side of the room is bland, they're going to assume your personality is bland. Like, not everybody thinks this way, but it's human nature just to, like, boom, boom, like, do ties, and that, so you might as well express yourself and put something up on the wall and, like, do what you like and embrace yourself, because, like, when you have that lab partner over to study, like, she's going to look up on the wall and be like, hey, you like that band too? And it's going to be a great conversation starter, because, like I said in the beginning with my first point, like, when you're cold calling, or whatever the term is, cold walking up to someone that you think's attractive in the Starbucks line, the coffee line, the Dunkin' Donuts line, like, that's tough. A cold pickup. Yeah. That's what it is. I never did that till my junior year. Like, you had to have a lot of confidence to be able to do that, and if you're doing that as a freshman, like, you got big, cojones. Exactly. So you want to be able to have, like, conversation starters in your room and around you and personalize it. So that was a beautiful point. I'm happy you added that.
Guys and girls, that example that you gave up of some random person coming in for, like, a study group or something, not to hang out with you, but to hang out with your roommate.
Yeah.
If you're not in the room and they turn and they see you're bland, desolate wall, the first question they're going to say to the guy who they're actually meeting up with is,
does somebody live there? No. But
exactly. No, the first question they're going to say to them is, yo, what's your roommate like?
Yeah.
And almost like forcing the question. And then the other guy's going to be like, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you've already set up like a bad, like, what's it called? Like a stereotype for yourself.
But we're not like, if that's you, if you're a
bland piece
if
of
you're
toast.
bland, like, then that's you know what I mean? And you gotta embrace it. Like, there's people out there that like that. There's another person out in that college, like, of 5,000, 10,000, 50,000 people that is exactly like you. You just have to embrace it. Like, if somebody questions you and says, like, hey, how come you only have a pencil and a composite notebook and your drawers and you only have 5 t-shirts, like, you came unprepared, like, you had to be able to back that up and say, like, I don't need that much to survive. Like, that's bold. I wish I could do that. Like, you just have to be confident. And
that really went full circle there.
Yeah. Like, it's either or, because I don't want to, like, I remember not having much, like, in the beginning, but maybe definitely by Thanksgiving, like, my room was broken into.
I feel like you're the kind of guy, though, who just automatically is like a sponge. Like, you need, like you see something cool online, you get that cool thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if it's not too expensive, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like you never really went into that kind of problem, but I do like what you kind of ended on there is, like, standing up for yourself.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. It's all about confidence.
Like, you know what? Like, we're, like, talking about, like, cool things and, like, finding your personality and finding who you are. In the meantime, stand up for yourself. Be like,
amen.
Be like, I'm good. I'm good. Why don't you do you? That's my favorite
Exactly.
one. Number 4, put yourself out there. And I really kind of wanted to tie this into women because I feel like we haven't, like, addressed that too much until you brought up your point.
Yeah.
That is a huge aspect of college. Like, if it wasn't big in your high school, and I'm sure it was, because guys are always going to be guys, girls are always going to be girls, it's going to be at least 2 times as big, if not more, in college. I don't know how many conversations I've walked in or I've met someone who I've never talked to before at college. Like, it's my first day coming into class, orientation day, and I'm sitting next to a guy on syllabus day, and the first thing he says to me is, yo, that girl's pretty cute up there in the front row. It is such a big aspect of your college life. You're not going to be able to avoid it. So I'd say embrace it, but that doesn't mean turning into, like, a man whore. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like explain how you kind of struck that balance, because I think you did it very well. Like, you had a girlfriend, but you didn't, like, get that way, like, right away. You weren't, like, jumping for the opportunity to, like, get, like, a long-term relationship, if what I'm saying makes sense. Everything
in life, you have to decide what you want. Like, do not use the word like so many times in a row. I feel like I'm saying like, but I'm just trying to keep the words going.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to decide what you want. Do you want a big school or a small school? Do you want a big town in the middle of city, in the middle of Manhattan, or do you want a small area? Like, the places that you have to be able to see before you go to the college. I would say that you have to do a virtual tour if you can't go in person, because that's going to give you a feel of what to expect and what the type of people you're going to meet and who you are as a person and what you want. Like, do you want to be with 10 different girls in one semester, or do you want to see the same girl every day? And so I hope that sort of addressed your question.
Sort of. I think what I was kind of trying to say to, like, the audience is that, like, I know some people are going to go into college thinking that within the first month they need to get a girlfriend.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean?
No.
Like, dispel with that rumor, man. That is not true at all. If anything, you're going to make yourself more miserable by trying to continuously throw yourself into, like, the deep end.
Yeah.
And then just getting rejected. Or you're going to find somebody who's, like, the first girl that says yes to you, and you've got nothing in common. You haven't even moved in yet. You don't even know if your school's going to be really dense with the workloads or not, and how much time you're going to be able to spend together, and anything. Wait on it, but put yourself out there, in the sense that I don't want people, like, sitting in their dorms all day playing video games either.
Yeah.
I want it to be a very nice balance. Don't jump at the first opportunity you get, but at the same time, don't be in there playing video games all day. Like, please God.
Yeah, that's just wasting away, like, your life, to be honest. Like, I haven't turned my PS4 on in, like, a month. Like, when you're in college, you might as well cash in because you're getting that bill. Somebody's getting that bill. And you should get out there as much as possible. Like once you graduate, and you get a job and you have that paycheck coming in, you can come home from work and play video games all you want.
Yeah.
But while you're there, like, you need to get out there and set up your circle as fast as you can so that you're comfortable.
There is no college later on in life, though. I want to just remind people. This is like the weirdest social experiment on the planet if you think about it like rationally for a second.
Yeah.
And it's as different as it's ever been in 2020 in our decade. You know what I mean? There's no like sleepaway camp for 40-year-olds. You know what I mean? This is your chance. This is your 4 years. This is like your get out of jail free card. You make advantage of it, but don't jump at every opportunity. I think that's what I was trying to say.
But the opportunities that interest you, you should jump at it because those are once in a lifetime. You're not going to get to go to college again. And there's all these movies of this is what college is like, that's what college is like. Just throw that out the window and you need to ask yourself what you want out of it. If you want to go to a party school like Arizona State or something like that, and you want to party every day, just go and do that and pick that school because the first 2 years of liberal arts, like, it's going to be just like high school if you went to a decent high school. So you're going to be able to get by and go to a party once or twice a week. But every single school has parties. My school was like less than 10% Greek life, maybe like 5%, but that's an estimate. But I know it was less than 10% Greek life.
I'm glad you brought that up because I feel like that's probably one of the biggest misconceptions that we haven't like completely touched on yet. Is that some people like they genuinely think that there are schools out there that don't have parties.
Yeah, every school has a party.
Unless you go, I don't know, like Brigham Young University. That's an old Mormon school in Salt Lake City, Utah, and a couple other places. Maybe there.
Hello.
They have social
Ding dong.
You have social gatherings, not parties. Every
name
other
is
place
Elder
in
Price.
the country is going to have parties. I guarantee you. Don't stress.
My school was 10,000 kids. There was a party on Tuesdays, on Thursdays, on Fridays, on Saturdays, and on Sundays. There was a party somewhere at some...
On Lord's Day, too?
Unfortunately, yes. But, like, if you want to party every night, you can do that. You just need to find those group of people that are going to do that with you. But you also need to not flunk out at the same time. When we talk
about Arizona State, we're not talking about party versus no party binary choices. We're talking about extent. We're talking about, is there going to be 20,000 people at the party or 20? That's the difference.
True.
You know what I mean?
And also what you're seeing. Do you want a huge like backyard with tens of 10-acre house with a mansion, or like where I was in Long Island, like a 1920s old house, the steps are creaking down to the old musty basement, and there's an old musty basement, and there's a random metal pole in the basement, and you bang into it when you're drunk, like with 50 people cramped into the small basement. Like, every school has different scenes and different types of parties. Right. And most likely those parties are going on just a couple blocks away from the campus. So, like, that's your kind of feel. So, like, if you're not going to this school in person, which I strongly recommend you do, but if you can't because of COVID and all that stuff, like, just go on Google Maps and open up the Street View and look around. Like, those are the type of homes that people are living in off campus, off dorm, and getting half the price of a dorm. So those are the type of houses where the partiers are going to be in.
Yeah.
So that's your scene.
Sorority row, that's the scene.
Yeah, exactly. And every school has that. Not if it's Greek life, but there's going to be 5 friends who moved in together and rented out a house, and they're throwing a party that Saturday.
Every day.
Yeah. So just get your stuff done before you go to the party. At least make sure your homework's done. You don't really have to study. Just get those easy points. Because most classes are, if you do the homework and you show up, you're going to have enough points to get a C, a B, and pass.
I'd say that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what's your number 4 on the list there?
My number 4 is, I can do it from memory without even looking at it. It was make peace with your roommates.
Yes.
So, like, before I said you should make peace with everyone, but if you can't do that, you need to make peace with your roommates. Like, if you got assigned randomly, you need to drop like as many pet peeves as you can, or you need to address your pet peeves and try to get them to be understanding. Like, if you're coming home to a bickering roommate because you didn't throw out your spoiled food in the fridge, I don't know, random examples. You didn't make your bed in the morning, you didn't clean up the toilet, you didn't replace the toilet paper, you left some hair in the sink from shaving. There's so many things. You didn't take out the trash, blah, blah, blah. There's so many things that can irk your roommate. And if you have someone that you do something and it makes them feel uncomfortable, they're going to snap at you. People are going to break. They're not used to living with random people, or if you got matched, hopefully you have things in common. But you need to be as understanding as possible. A book that I would recommend is How to Win Friends and Gain Influence by Dale Carnegie. Like, that book is gonna teach you.
You're citing your sources over
Yeah,
right now.
that's
what
book.
college will do to you.
Yes.
Be very careful.
MLA format.
But no, we did college. We Chicago style.
Oh, okay. Whatever your school, whatever format your professor required. Blah blah blah. But that book is gonna teach you how to like see things from another person's shoes and how to talk to them and understand them, because like they grew up differently. If some things that you're doing is bothering them, you need to like take a step back and fix it, because it's their place too. You don't want to come home to bickering and fighting. Like, my freshman year, we had like I had 3 roommates and like a common living area. I was with one roommate, and next door these 2 other people lived. And one of the people next door that we shared the common living room with, like, the 3 of us just didn't get along with them. And my roommate that lived in my room, he actually like threw hands with this guy, and they got into a fist fight. And I kept the peace. I don't think I told you that before. But no. They got separated, and one got moved to like punishment housing for like a weekend. And that was really rough. Like, the last thing you want to do while you're trying to figure your life out, you're stressed, you got a big test tomorrow, is you want to come home at 9 p.m. after like a late night class, and your roommates are yelling at each other. Like, that's just toxic. And if you got to pay up for the single because you can't figure it out, it might be worth the peace of mind, because if another thing of that square or that triangle is out of balance, your home life, like, it's going to be a disaster for you.
I'd say take singles with like a lot of caution, like,
because you could also be lonely.
Like, maybe like rent a hotel room for like a week, like see what that's like. Yeah, it can be so depressing sometimes. But if you really like, you just can't get that right, you know, your luck's not on your side this semester or next semester. It might be worth it. But I think that probably better than just going through some anecdotes of my own on that one is better to just like straight up ask you like questions, because I think people once again have such a misconception about this. Like, do you think that your first roommate, whoever you get signed with, has to be your best friend for the next 4 years?
No,
absolutely not, right?
I barely talked to my roommates my senior year, and the one guy that was fighting, like, I didn't talk to him for 2 whole years, but when he saw that I was graduating, he came and took a picture of me because we were civil, and I saw things in his shoes, even though I thought he was wrong. Like, I never made him feel like I hated him, and we were peaceful, and he would like come to me to intermediate the message, so like things were peaceful and things lasted.
Civility, man, that is all we need. I think so many people
have
a big chip on their shoulder, man. Yeah. And they look at a thing like they get slighted, and it like ruminates, you know, and it like plays in their head, and they just start building this anger, and then like something like a chip will fall, and it's like, you disgusting slob. Every day you've got your chips in your shoes and your freaking dirty clothes all over the place, and it boils over. Like, it's I know it's tough because like I get like that too sometimes. I'm not gonna lie, but just like get up and just like go and like get a coffee, go get like a juice. Yeah. Like, literally just leave the situation. Come back to bed and go to bed. That's it. Like,
great. Oh, here's a great tip. Great tip. If you are getting frustrated, there are so many places, even in your own residence hall. I bet you there's an extra communal lounge, and you can take a step out for 3 hours, bang out your homework and just be alone in that communal hall. Go to the library. There's so many spots on camera where you can sit under a tree, smell the roses, and calm down.
I think that's why in your earlier point of finding your clique, finding your group, and get my point to get yourself out there is so important, because when you're in that situation, one of the best diffusers, besides actually, like you said, throwing hands or like blowing up, which has its own, which will diffuse, but but the best way to do that non-confrontationally, go to that group, go to that clique, and bitch. That's like let's be honest, we all kind of like to bitch at the end of the day.
Don't create drama, but I see where you're coming from.
No, they're not going to go. I mean, if they're really your friends, they're not going to go back to these random people. But that's the best de-stressor, honestly. Instead of like burying your head in a pillow, I guess, and like yelling. You know what I mean? Just go and be like, you would not believe what Mike did to me the other day. You know, and just have it out that way. It's whatever.
Have a friend that you can vent to. That's what I would sum up your statement.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. My last one is not for everybody, but this was more of kind of like a something that I really learned and that I enjoyed, and obviously it's not for everybody. A lot of these aren't for everybody, with like the study abroad thing, for example. But for my fifth and final one, I talked about transportation. I talked about bringing a car to campus.
I wish I brought a car to campus.
Once again, man, it's not for everyone. Not everyone can afford it, and I don't want to feel like I'm singling people out. I couldn't afford it, and yet I still put myself in debt for that one. But life literally changed from my sophomore year to my junior year when I was allowed to drive up from South Florida all the way to Pennsylvania and bring my car. My dating life changed. My money situation changed. I could have a job. I could go drop food off for people. I could take people like on rides. Like all of a sudden I was like popular, you know. And then also I was 21 before a lot of people. My birthday was a little bit earlier. I'm getting alcohol for people.
Liquor runs.
People around. Yeah.
That runs into my last point without cutting you off. Like, you want to be the go-to guy for something. You want to be if you have a car, you're the go-to guy for rides, and that gives you more opportunity to make friends. You want to be the go-to guy for liquor, making alcohol runs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Taking trips. I don't know how many times I've gone out of my way to go to like the mall like a little bit further once I had that situation set up, and I didn't feel like I had to like pester like my one rich friend who had the car already since he was like 17, 16. Or like if you want to like take like a day trip to like New York, you can do that now. It opens up so many doors for you, where before literally I wanted to get an internship to a place, Jeffrey. It was an Uber there, an Uber back, an Uber there. I wanted to like vote or something.
You look at the bill, $100 for Ubers.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Two Ubers, $40 there and back.
Jesus.
You're burying yourself. Don't do that to yourself. If you have
You're already paying for textbooks.
Exactly. If you have the opportunity, it was a great experience for me. My last 2 years were my favorite. Go for it.
My one friend who went to FSU, his dorm was like a 30-minute walk from like the educational side of campus or whatever where his classes were. He bought a motorcycle, and he never drove that motorcycle on the highway. Like,
so we 101.
So yeah, so you can get at my school. It was probably like, I would say, the furthest, like if you did the absolute southern part of the educational side and the northern part of the residential side, it was like a 20-minute walk. So those people would have like electric skateboards with a little moving thing, the propulsion, or an electric bicycle. Like, you don't have to get a car. Like, an extreme top of the line electric bike is $2,000.
I'm also kind of couching that statement depending on where you live. Like, if you go to GWU or NYU, don't buy a car.
Absolutely not. Public transportation.
Walk everywhere, and you're gonna have a great time doing it too. That's like GWU's like Georgetown. That's like their strong suit. You know what I mean?
My cousin, even like some cities that are downtown, like my cousin goes to Ohio State. It's right in the smack middle of downtown Columbus. There's fantastic. I'm absolutely sure it's free. I'm like 90% sure it's free. That she just gets on a bus, boom, 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 class around circles and like
some of these
city
schools
lines.
Will pay for the buses.
Yeah,
too.
BU has buses. Boston University.
Yeah, mine as well a little bit, but
Yeah.
But so we talked about NYU, GWU. But if you go to University of Buffalo, you get a car. You hear me? You get a car.
Yeah.
Don't risk Buffalo.
Yeah.
Don't risk Buffalo transportation.
A little bit of a personal experience. I didn't have a car till the summer before my junior year. I got it in August.
It was like very off and on for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Right before my junior year, I got a car, and I biked from my office campus place. Not even an electric bike. I went to Target. I bought a $95 bike. I stuffed it in a zip car to bring it home from Target. Did you have zip cars on your campus?
We did for a little bit, and then they went out of business like a year in.
Really?
Yeah.
I think maybe they're not there anymore on my campus. You're right. They're not there anymore.
My freshman year, though, zip cars.
Oh my God! I didn't know they went out of business. That's so sad.
I mean,
they were like $15 an hour for a car.
I feel like that's one of those ideas that you pitch to Shark Tank, and you get like
The
your
Silicon
ass
Valley.
chewn out of you.
Yeah.
Because they're like, what about the liabilities, the insurance? You know what?
Exactly. So I would before that I would kind of rent the zip car every once in a while because it was only $15 an hour, but you had to pay gas. But I remember stuffing this bike into the zip car, and it scuffed up the leather a little bit, and the handle was pushed against the glass because I stuffed the bike in this car and I brought it home, and that bike was the best investment I made. It gave me more range around campus. I was able to bike what would take a 40-minute walk was now a 10-minute bike ride.
Did you ever take a date on one of those zip cars?
No.
No?
Maybe I brought a couple girls to Target, but I wouldn't call it a date.
I'm curious what that would be like. I've never talked to somebody who had a zip car date before.
I brought one girl to a funeral. She knew I had a zip car account and she really needed it.
Yeah.
And I brought her to a funeral. That was depressing, but nothing happened. But so I was the go-to guy. They had
You had your license.
I had not even a license. I had the zip card
and the account. Yeah.
Account card. Yeah. So if someone really needed a ride for something, they came to me hey, I heard you could do the zip car. I'll pay for it. Just could you drive me out there?
Because do they have I'm assuming they have decals all across saying zip car, zip car.
Yeah,
zip car, advertising. So
it's known that you're in a zip car coming down the street.
So generally, it's been
but it's bankrupt, so this advice doesn't even matter.
That's true.
That's so true. Messed up.
That's true.
That's so sad. I'm sorry you guys don't have a zip car.
But I wanted to give this kind of idea a thought here because
did it really go bankrupt? We need a Jamie. I believe it, but I feel things like COVID really messed stuff like that up. That was a great business. But you should plan out your routes. I'm going to go to this class this day. I'm going to go this way. Oh my God, that's a 20-minute walk. I need an electric skateboard. I personally could never ride on an electric skateboard, but things that are going to save you time is going to save you money. If you can save 20 minutes off your commute, that's 20 minutes you can spend with friends, 20 minutes you can spend at your job if you need to cover the textbooks. Mm-hmm. I worked as a security guard at the dorms, taking people's IDs for $8.25 an hour. But that job was on campus, so I didn't have to travel far. Not everyone's lucky enough to get an on-campus job. But whatever's going to save you time is going to save you money. And that comes back to the same economical concept where this is making me, 20 pennies while I was talking here. You want to be able to double up and do things like that and make sure you're doing things efficiently.
So to answer
to
answer your question, Zipcar does technically still exist. It is still a company. They merged with another company called FlexCar.
Never heard of it.
And so now I think they're going to be a little bit more on the up and up. But for whatever reason, they moved out of PA. So I don't know, Zipcar, what's up? We missed you at Villanova.
The lot, Hofstra had 2 lots, and I don't think they're there anymore now that you mention it. But I forgot about them because I got my own car.
Right.
Yeah. But a personal story that I tried to mention earlier, but then I got sidetracked by my own mind, was I had a car. My mother in Florida, it's very young to drive. When you're 14, 15, you're driving. You have a learner's permit.
You can get your learner's
in Florida.
Which means they're teaching you at 14.
At 14,
your
parents
Even
yeah, exactly.
But
So in Florida, there's a lot of neighborhoods that are gated off or non-gated off, but the cops aren't coming into that neighborhood. And you can just go in circles at 12 years old, 13 years old around the neighborhood to learn how to drive. So By my sophomore year of high school, I was driving to school on my own. And I was taking my little brother and my little sister. So when I went to college and my mom refused after begging and begging and begging, can I bring the car? Can I bring the car? This is not some
I would have
Maserati.
in the room during that conversation.
Yeah,
I feel like planes went flying.
It was not good. It was not good.
Potted plants
This
were
was a $3,000 used 140,000 miles Chrysler Pacifica 2008
More
soccer
importantly,
mom
it was
car.
yours.
It was my car. I
Exactly.
wanted to stuff all the stuff from my room in that car, drive from South Florida to New York, 95 north the whole way, up until the George Washington Bridge, crossover, come into Long Island, pull up my stuff. But my mom's like hard to let go. You know, you're going to have that moment where it's going to be hard for your family to let go of you. And if you can somehow finagle and convince, like, to have a car and let you bring your hometown car, the hand-me-down that you were given, or if you had a job in high school and bought yourself a beater, or if you're a spoiled trust fund baby and you have a 50,000 Mercedes like some of the kids that we went to high school with.
Citizen, you mean,
yeah, at least they pay taxes. Yeah, some of them.
The Cayman
But-
Islands, but
Yeah, but that was a good one.
yeah, right.
So those people, you just need to have a car because it's going to expand and it's going to be able to get you to move around and expand your range, and you're going to be able to go to a job. Like, you can talk about how far was your waiter job away from your school, and you
If
didn't
I
get
had
that
to-
till you had a car, right?
Exactly. If I
Yeah.
had to walk there, it would probably be like half an hour.
Oh
guess,
my God.
Of me walking, maybe half an hour.
I have a
coming back,
terrible
too.
story.
Driving there was 7 minutes.
So Hofstra University is in Hempstead, and there's this in the summer of 2017. Didn't have a car till the summer of 2018. I had nothing to do. I was only taking one class at Hofstra, and I was stuck there. And I walked like 2 hours, but there was a bus line, but not at night. The bus cut off at 11 p.m. The Nassau County bus, and I walked from Hempstead to Bethpage, where this Amazon warehouse was, and it was like 2.5 hour walk. And my feet hurt, and then I would work like an 11, 12-hour shift. I did that for like a month and a half before I quit. Because it was just too much.
It was too much.
But I think I made $14.75 an hour in 2017. Like,
My job
that is huge
specifically-
money compared to
it is,
Florida.
it is. My job
Huge money.
specifically made you wear a suit to work too.
Oh my
So
God.
Could you imagine now you're
Sweating
walking
buckets.
to-
Oh my
exactly.
God.
That, and we got bad snow, like slush,
Yeah.
on the highways and stuff,
Yeah.
and I'd have to walk like over like a bridge to
Yeah.
get there. It's just it's not economical. It doesn't make sense.
Oh, so don't feel bad if, like, some people, like the girl that I've been talking to, she graduated and she still doesn't have a car. But
Yeah.
if you're that go-to guy for a car,
you buy her
it's
one?
gonna help. I wish.
Come on, man.
Maybe a little
Be a
beater.
knight in shining armor, yeah, right?
No. But
Would you ever do that, by the way? Would you ever let go, like, on site, like, let go, and just be like, cars in my area,
yeah,
from low to high, and then just, like, be like,
I sold my car on Craigslist.
put, like, one of those little red bows on it from the
Yeah.
commercials and drive it up to her place?
Oh my God. Actually, I take that back. I went to CarMax and then I got a $3,000 check for my used car.
Okay.
Right before I left. It was like a week before I left to college. I like shed a tear. Oh,
You're
my
sad
poor
one,
baby.
right?
Yeah, because I wanted to drive it to college. I wish that was one of the biggest regrets, because it was awful walking like 50 minutes to the train station to get into Manhattan. Like, Hofstra had shuttle buses,
Right.
but they were only like every hour, or like they weren't at night, or like at 4 a.m. when you're stumbling home from the Manhattan bar. Yeah, stuff like that. So, going into my last point, which I've said a lot, is you need to be the go-to guy for something. You need to be the go-to guy. If it's a car, it can be as simple as you have the mini fridge on your floor, on your second floor. People are going to want to store their wine bottle in your mini fridge. You can have a printer.
They're gonna ask for free bottles of
Peop-
water from you all the time.
Yeah, a 3D printer. The engineering students are going to want to use your 3D printer. You can have a real printer, and people from your floor are going to want to print their homework out in your room. And they want to say, if someone asks them, like, hey, I need to print out my homework, they're gonna be like, oh, I know this guy Jeff, I know this guy Cryptic. That's funny to call you Cryptic.
Yeah.
I'll get used to it. But I know him. He's a go-to guy for the printer. That's not what the exact words are gonna be, but they're gonna have that assimilation, and you're gonna be able to make more friends that way. So you need to be the go-to guy for whatever it is, and it's gonna expand your opportunities tremendously. The amount of people you meet, and you're gonna have a better time, because this is all about having a better time in college.
That was beautiful, man. Just put a bow on it right there. We're about to hit the 1 hour mark. I appreciate anybody and everybody who tuned in.
12:15 p.m. Eastern.
12:15 p.m. Eastern, out of Long Island, New York. If anybody came in, if you enjoyed the content, we're going to be live streaming again tomorrow. And the day after that, before we come up with the
next week
program. Yeah, exactly, for the next week. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you tune in again. And we'll see you real soon. Thanks, guys.
You can find these videos on YouTube, and we hope these pick up stream, because we really want to help as many people out as possible. And I hope you guys like our perspective and nobody got offended or some of that BS.